everyone, it's Eki here. If you could tell, there's a big difference in my look, which is the hair. So I've gotten lots of questions in regarding to how I achieve this hair color, along with what item I used to get this color. I wanted to tell you guys that I am not a professional hair colorist, so I'm just sharing with you guys how I did it to get this hair color. So everyone's hair color and hair type is different, so what I'm doing is just sharing how I did it, basically. To get to the products, which I bought everything from Sally's Beauty Supplies. To start off with the products I've used, I got this L'Oreal Quick Blue Bleach, which is extra strength. It's supposed to lift up to 7 levels. So I got this. It's supposed to be 1 pound container, but when you open it, I was really surprised to see that it's like half empty, and you get 2 bags, and they're about $15.99 at Sally's. So the hair dye I got is called Color Brilliance. I guess it's called Iron, and the shade I got is Light Ash Brown in 5A 5.1. And this is like in ash tone range. They have blonde to brown. I decided to go with browns because from past experience, when I got like blonde ash tone on a bleached hair, it washes out really quickly within like a few washes, and it's back to being like brown, yellow, orangey shade. To avoid that, I try to go with the brown shade, which is a darker pigment. This shade is gonna wash out because ash tone doesn't really stay into the hair that well. So I'm thinking that this is gonna wash out and it's gonna fade. So I was hoping that this color was gonna get a little bit darker ash brown than what I achieved. I mean, I love this color, but it just doesn't stay. And then the developer I got one in Iron, the same brand as a hair dye, and developer 30. I used this for the bleach. And then I got the L'Oreal 20 volume for my hair dye, or the hair color. So I got 2 different developer. I don't think the brand really matters, but this one is supposed to be scalp sensitive. So when I bleach my hair, I wanted to have a little bit of protection. I don't know if it really helped that much. You don't want to forget to get gloves and mixing bowl and a brush. And I also got metal clips and hair cap. I also got this hair conditioner, deep conditioner. So I end up using this L'Oreal Nature's Therapy Mega Moisture Mask for very dry, chemically processed hair. And I have to say, after I bleach my hair, I apply this conditioner on there. Immediately it was very silky and smooth, and left it on for about 5 minutes. It said 2 to 5 minutes, but I left it on for 5 minutes. It was really nice. When I dried my hair, it didn't feel like harsh dryness. So I don't know, I think it's good. I haven't bleached my hair in like 5 years, so I was very nervous to do it, because when you bleach your hair, it strips your hair, your natural hair, and it makes it very dry and brittle. The bleach I got, it's really nice. When I used to bleach my hair, it stung and it itched so much that I was like poking at it and like hoping that it's processed and checking it every like minute, making sure it's processing, because I wanted to wash it out because it was irritating my skin. What I was surprised about with this bleach is that I applied it on and it stung a little bit around the ears and the neck, like that stingy, itchy feeling. But on my actual scalp, I had no problem. It didn't sting, it didn't itch, it didn't feel uncomfortable, like burning. So I have to say, I think this is really good bleach for anyone that has really dark hair and you want to process it without irritation. Our black to dark hair, you have to process it longer. So I recommend this if you're thinking about bleaching your hair. So on to the process. My hair before, if you saw my last video, it's really dark. It's like black, and then my ends are kind of like reddish brown. And so before I bleached it, I didn't color my hair for about 3 months. I wanted to let my hair heal without the chemical processing and all that, and let it grow out. So I had about, I would say about I had a new growth about like that much. Sorry, that's my clock. It's beetles, if you could hear it. It was really dark right here. It was really black, and in here I had about the same amount of growth about here. So I was kind of worried about the two-tone, having, like, you know, the heat from the scalp, processing it faster, and then having a dark ends or something like that. So what I did was that I told you I had a clip, which is a metal clip that you could get in any beauty supplies. It's one of those longer ones. Do with a quick pointer with bleaching is that you want your hair to be saturated as much as you can. So make sure you make a good portion. If your hair is really long, mine's kind of medium length, I made it till it was full. Like, I made 4 scoops of bleach and equal amounts of developer, and it made like full amount of bowl. And what I would do is I parted it in the middle into 2 sections, and then I would get the bottom part parted up like this, and I would have my bottom layer exposed, and I clip it in like that. And so what I like to do with bleaching is I start from bottom to top. So, and what I like to do is I don't like to apply it directly on the scalp at first, because heat processes it faster, and like I said, I don't want the two tones. So I apply it about 1 inch away, and then you really want your hair to avoid straight streaking. You want to have your bleach fully saturated, and you want to make sure you put a lot in each strand. So what I did was, you don't want to grab a big chunk of it, because you could bleach might not saturate it in, and that creates blotches of color and streaking. So make sure you take, like, section it off so you know it's thin amount, and apply it both sides and gradually move it lower. What I like to, another pointer is that make sure you saturate the ends as well, really well, or you're gonna have really light and then dark two tones. So saturate it well and go equal amounts on both sides, and then you have the clip in there again. So best thing to do is have like a use behind of a brush, or have a comb that's a rat tail, and go in and part it, get that another thin part, section it off and pin it back up, and then drench it again with on both sides with your brush. So just go around in the whole head and section by section, and so you could tell that it's evenly bleached by doing that section method. After you get the top, like I said, leave about 1 inch away from every scalp section that you did. Make sure your ends are saturated really well with the bleach as well. So don't be cheap with the bleach. Be generous. Make sure it's like fully soaked, and you know that you didn't miss any part. After bleaching, applying bleach all over, section by section, remember I didn't put the 1 inch away from the scalp. After I'm done with the whole head, I go back into the hair. Use your comb again, and then make sure you fill in that 1 inch part that you didn't apply before, go back into the half and then go back to the top and make sure you go back in and apply. And after that, I like to twist it in a bun all together. Make sure everything's bleached nicely, and what I like to do is that cap that I mentioned earlier, I wear the cap on the head. I'll say I process my hair for about good 40 to 45 minutes with applying and everything, about 15 minutes. I want it to be bleached to a point that my hair was bright orange, light yellow. I didn't want any redness in my hair because from past experience of bleaching and coloring it to ash brown or ash tone, it didn't take in if your hair wasn't fully processed. If it's reddish orange and you color your hair with ash tone, it's gonna the orange tone's gonna seek through. Like you could see that my ends aren't as ashy as the halfway end because the heat from my head processed my top hair more than the ends. So my top head, about this much, was light yellow after 45 to 50 minutes of wearing the cap and letting the heat process. It was like light yellow on the top, and the bottom half was like light orange shade. It was still like yellow, but like had an orange tone undertone to it. So you could see that when I do this, you could see that this one's more orangey brown tone, and this one is really ashy light tone. So you could tell what I mean by that is make sure you bleach your hair, let it process all the way till you look at it and it's kind of like not white, but it's like light yellow, no reddish orange tones. Or if when you do, like I said, when you color it, it's not gonna have that true ash color. After processing the hair, what I like to do is make sure you rinse it out really well, like really well, because you could tell when you have bleach in your hair, it's slimy and it has this texture to your hair. Make sure you rinse it and rinse it and rinse it really well. It took me about maybe 10 minutes or so for me to actually rinse it out. Just water, you don't need to apply anything else, shampoo or nothing. Just let it run through, comb it with your hand, make sure that you rinse it to a point that you don't feel that sliminess in your hair. And then don't forget to condition your hair. Like what I used was that conditioner I mentioned earlier. You wanna use heavier conditioner after you bleach your hair because it has completely stripped your hair out of your natural oils in your hair. If you bleach it a really long time and processed it so much that your hair could start feeling like strings. So you want to moisturize, but with a heavy hair conditioner. I truly recommend this, the Essential Hair Pack. This one really moisturizes your hair. Make sure you scoop your water out, squeeze it out of your hair, and moisturize. And what I like to do is after I apply it, generous amount, I do the bun thing and leave it on, tie it up, and leave it on for about 5 minutes. And I don't like to color the same time as bleaching because I feel like I want my scalp to have the natural oil back on my hair rather than immediately coloring and stripping that away even more. I feel like that's more chances of damaging your hair even more. So the next day I like to color my hair. It doesn't have to be next day. If you like that blonde for a while, you could just sport it for a few days. I don't have the tube because I used it and I trashed it, but it comes in that regular tube, middle tube. So next day I used the Developer 20. You could always also use developer 10 because you already bleached your hair, and your hair is already light, and that it will take in pretty much any shade now because it became neutral. So you don't have to use developer 20. I use 20 because 20 lifts 2 shades lighter than your natural hair shade, and 10 is neutral. It doesn't really, you could use that for if you're coloring likewise as your natural hair color. And I don't want to use 30, developer 30, because that's 3 shades lighter than your natural hair tone, and my hair was already bleached enough that it was going to process in. So you could use 10, developer 10, but I decided to use 20 just in case. And you could use 30 as well, but I don't really recommend it for coloring hair unless you're going lighter, but you're already light. So going back to the story of not choosing blonde instead, it's because, like I said, if you want really lighter than this, and you want to neutralize the yellow, then you could go ahead and go with the blonde, the ash blonde, or ash tone is better to me because it neutralizes the yellow to like beige tone. So if you want to go lighter than this, you could use, they even have a high lift version of this brand, which will, after you bleach it and that yellow, orange, brassy hair, when you use the high lift, it will lift out the whatever leftover and neutralizes the hair to like the platinum, no yellow, no brassy blonde. So if you want to go lighter, not lighter, but like neutral, pretty platinum, beigey undertone ash blonde, then you could go with the high lifts. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay in the brown tone because of washing. I didn't want it to fade as fast as the blondes. I highly recommend, if you want like ash brown, go with, I could even gone with the medium ash brown, but I wanted to experiment with how the light ash brown looked like. And so when I was processing this hair color, I could tell that it wasn't gonna get dark after putting it on for about 15 minutes, because usually when you use ash brown tone, you could tell the dye starts turning purple and really dark. And this one, I put it on, it started getting greenish on my yellow hair, and after 15 minutes it just pretty much stayed, and it got a little bit darker gradually, but I didn't see that purple darkening color shade. So I knew that it wasn't going to get really dark than that. I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to stay in browns and not like really blonde, because you could tell this is blonde, more blonde than brown, because I didn't want it to fade fast, but it's gonna fade fast because there's not much pigments in them, unfortunately. So that is the hair color I colored. But if you really want ash brown, like light ash brown color without the fading and being this light, you go with the medium. I think the medium ash brown would be nicer, to be honest. I wanted to share with you guys, don't bleach your hair and color your hair on just washed hair. If you shampooed it that day, don't bleach or color it, because you still have that chemical from the shampoo in your hair, plus it stripped your natural oil by cleansing it, so your hair is very much clean. So when you bleach it and color it, it's gonna be more harsh on your hair. So what I do is I don't wash my hair for like 2 days before I bleach my hair or color my hair, and let that oil work through to my hair, because when you're processing your hair, it's stripping your hair basically. Anytime you don't have any moisture in your bleached hair, that is when your hair is more likely to get more damage from everyday stress, from just brushing or, you know, being out in the sun. So moisturize is the key, and I highly recommend hair product with tsubaki oil. And I guess that was it. I hope I covered everything. Like I said, this was just a tip in how I did it. So that was it. I wanted to share with you guys how I got this hair color and how I did it. And like I said, I am not a hair professional, so please remember that everyone's hair is different. Take this video as just a grain of salt. I hope it does help in some way, but remember, read your instructions on everything before you use them, and it's always good to ask a professional on tips, like if you're a usual hairdresser or Sally's. Usually the people that works at Sally is certified cosmetologist or a hair beautician, and so they should be able to give you pointers in the right direction and what product you should use. And Google is a great tool to look for tips on there if you're worried about certain things, because bleaching your hair is a big step for your hair and damaging it basically. But like I say, if you condition and take care of it, you could prevent a lot of the issue that comes along with bleaching. That was it. I hope I covered everything on the video, and so thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you could talk to me on Twitter, because I'm always checking there at least once a day. So if you write to me on Twitter with questions or say hello, I always like hearing from everyone. My Twitter is @ekieki. So see you there, or on my blog, or on YouTube.